I was 15 years old when my stepfather would sit me on his lap and run his hand over my chest. My size had become like that of an older woman. Whenever my mother was around, my stepfather would take me to the room. But this time, it was a miracle when my stepfather put his thick 7-inch hand on my chest. My father did not look at me with loving eyes, and the reason for all this was my mother. Whenever my father would call me to him, my mother would get angry and tell me to stay away from him. When my daughters grow up, they should keep their distance from their parents. I felt very bad about what my mother said, but at that time I was so young that I could not resist much. When I grew up a little, a strange incident happened. One night, voices started coming from my mother's room. It seemed that they were fighting again today. My name was also being called. It seemed that the fight was because of me. I went a little further and went to my mother's room. I tried to listen to what was going on in their room. Then the door opened with a bang. My mother was standing in front of me and staring at me. How many times have I told you to stay away from us, and especially from your father? And you don't understand. You are not a little girl. You should always hide in your mother's lap. Go to your room and rest. After listening to what was going on there, I became silent. But when I woke up in the morning, my life had changed. My mother was in my room. I came to me and said, "Daughter, you can't go to school from now on. Girls who go to school become disobedient to their parents after studying. I will get you a tutor at home. That tutor will teach you to write and write, and you can fulfill all your needs at home." But Mom, all my friends go to school. Why should I stay at home? Hearing my complaint, Mom looked at me angrily and said, "You will know later why I am picking you up from school. For now, you should stay at home and prepare for the exam." Saying this, Mom left my room and started crying. With great difficulty, I asked Mom for permission to let me go to school for the last time so that I could meet my friends and get it out of my heart. Mom gave me permission, but today, Mom's expression was different. She was looking at me very carefully. She dressed me in different clothes instead of the school uniform and said, "Today, I will take you with me." Mom went with me to school, then sat outside the school and waited for me. During the holidays, she brought me home with her. Emma's behavior seemed strange. It seemed like she was afraid of someone, or she wanted to introduce me to someone. But as soon as I came home, Emma's behavior changed. She would behave towards me as if I were not her real daughter but her stepdaughter. After sending me to her room, Amma herself started getting ready in her room. Today Amma was wearing a red dress and she had also applied lipstick on her lips. It seemed as if she intended to welcome someone today. It had been a long time. I had seen Amma from upstairs. Now I wanted to go downstairs to have dinner, but Amma had strictly forbidden me, saying, "You are not allowed to come to Amma's room today." I sat down in my room. After a long time, I heard my father's footsteps, but after that, there was a deep silence in the house. I asked someone. I had not asked anything, nor had I asked my mother anything, so now I had stopped talking to her. I was very sad about leaving school. I had taken this sadness upon myself. I wanted to make my mother feel that she had done a great injustice to me, that she had done a great wrong by removing me from my school, so I had also reduced my conversations with her. But the next day, a strange incident happened. A teacher from my school came to my house to meet my mother. I was very happy to go in front of the teacher, but when my mother started talking about me, I stood there and listened to my mother's words secretly. I did not want my mother to stop talking to me when she went in front of me. My mother told my teacher in a very confidential manner that I had a fatal disease due to which I could no longer come to school. I felt very strange after hearing this from my mother. I did not have any disease. Then she said another thing. Teacher, you know that the poor have nothing happens except respect. I want to protect my daughter's respect. The teacher explained to my mother that other girls come there. There is no threat to anyone's respect, but my mother was not accepting it. She said that this cannot happen. Her father also does not accept it. You should admit another child to the school. My daughter apologizes, and yes, the teacher who will come to teach her here also knows everything. Mother had satisfied the teacher of my school and sent her away, but my heart felt strange. I could not understand my mother's lie. When it was night, my mother ordered me to stay in my room as usual. Now I had become accustomed to all this, but I did not know that my mother could make such a big lie and such a disgusting accusation against me. But the next day, my mother did a very strange thing. She came to my room and said to me at night, "Daughter, I want you to go to my aunt's house." Mother, I have no problem here. Why do you want to send me to your aunt's house? By not answering my question, they confused me even more. Daughter, all I want is for you to go to your aunt's house, it will be great. Otherwise, if you stay here, your life will be miserable. I did not understand what my mother was saying. I remained silent. Mother, why are you asking me to leave home? Will you also come with me? Mother became silent after hearing me. How can I go? Daughter, I will stay with your father. My husband is my husband. I cannot leave my house. You are not married yet. Do you know what responsibilities a woman has? Mother's words had silenced me, but the next day, she had also fought with her father. My name was used, but I did not know why my mother and father always fight over me. This time, I heard a few words. Mother was telling her father that I will never let you do all this for my daughter. My daughter's life cannot be lived according to your wishes. It will be what I want. I have raised my daughter. I have nurtured her. I have raised her. You are a careless person. Don't try to come close to my daughter. They were both talking strangely. I shook my head. The next day, an incident happened that opened my eyes even more. An old woman came to our house. That old woman looked very powerful and strong. Her hands and feet were masculine. She was wearing a black burqa. She had come to meet Amma. Amma had asked me to make tea for her because Amma respected her very much. It seemed from Amma's demeanor that this old woman was a very important person to her, and she did not want to say anything in front of her that would upset her nature. Amma had sent me inside to the kitchen, but her voice was coming out clearly. I saw my mother take off her shawl and sit at the woman's feet. She folded her hands in front of her and said, "Big sister, save me from this girl. She is none other than my daughter-in-law. Look how young and beautiful she is. My face has changed. Now, silver has come out in her hair. Where will my husband ask me? Just take her somehow. And you know everything in the future. Whatever I have to do in the future, yes, daughter, I know everything. But this girl has no parents. What if she had left me for someone else?" My mother had said in a regretful manner, looking at the lifeless girl. I didn't understand that my mother was really talking to me. Don't create any problems for the girl yourself. Whatever happens, I will do it myself. Your husband hasn't married her yet? John asked his mother. No, no, nothing has happened yet, but his intention is to make her my wife. Do you know where I will go in my old age? She is young. She will find many relationships with whom she will be satisfied. But for me, there is only one husband who is my support in my old age. If he also leaves me for someone else, what will I do? With whom will I spend my whole life now? Amma started crying again after saying that I would suffer so much in my last years. I thought that after this old woman left, I would take a good lesson from Amma and ask her why she had said such useless things to this woman and said such a dirty and disgusting thing about my father. Oh my God, what has happened to Amma? I was going crazy after thinking about it. After this woman left, I immediately went to Amma and lashed out at her. Amma, aren't you ashamed to talk like this about my father, and why are you saying such things about me? Who gives you money? After all this talk, your mind has not gone crazy. You have not gone crazy. Yes, I have gone crazy. And do you know what a fool you are? Just be your father's lover. When you come to terms with reality, you will understand how bad this world is. Amma was just talking when there was a knock at the door. I saw that it was my father at the door. Amma immediately motioned me to go upstairs. I indicated, Mom, I won't listen to you anymore. I won't go upstairs. From now on, I will live with my father the way I used to when I was a child. You have followed me like a witch. My mother started explaining to me. The knocking on the door became louder. Then my mother went and opened the door. Now she had stopped explaining to me. My father was sitting first. It seems that my mother has lost her mind. I thought to myself. Then the door of the house opened. My father was standing in front of me. Another man was with my father. My father gently placed his hand on my head. But the man with him had strange eyes. It seemed as if he was going to eat me. My father told me to go upstairs and play. And yes, do it. Make tea for us. After hearing what my father said, I went to the kitchen to make tea. My mother also came with me. What happened, daughter? Didn't I explain 100 times that you shouldn't come to the kitchen to make tea? I am here to work in this house. The house is mine. I am responsible for it. Why are you bothering Mahmoud? Come on. Go. Well done. Go to the house. Mother took the tea set from my hand and told me to go to the house. I really felt that this house was not mine. Today, I felt very strange and alien to myself. I went upstairs to my room. I thought that after today, I will not talk to my mother, who talks all kinds of colorful things about me to people. How sincere will she be to me? Mother had accelerated my studies. Every day, the teacher would come and teach me, but Mirawal did not seem interested in anything. I wanted to go to school. I wanted to play with my friends. The way I spent my time all day, sitting at home, all this was not possible at all. The next day, something strange happened. Mother called the same old woman to our house again and made me sit in front of her. That woman started staring at me. I had seen this woman. Her eyes were strange. Mother looked at her with pleading eyes. It seemed that Amma had made a special request to her. Then she was looking at me so attentively as if she wanted to ask me a question. How old is your girl? The woman asked me. I told her my age. She started touching her ears. It's been a while since we've seen this. What should we do? In our time, girls of that age were not allowed to go out of the house and look at her. Before I could say anything, Amma gestured. I got up and went to my room. Amma used to tell this old woman that this girl is my cousin and wants to marry my husband. Even though my mother was lying about all this, the old woman still believed it. I was now wondering about the old woman's intelligence. How could she do this? Well, she herself was no less than a man. Even at that age, she had no fragility or weakness. Rather, she had a manly body. When it was evening, Amma called me downstairs and my father was also in front of me. I was sitting there today. My father was looking at me with strange eyes. Daughter, how old are you? Father suddenly asked me. Why are you behind her age? Don't you see that our daughter has become young? Mother said this and gestured me to go upstairs again. I got angry. I said, Mother, don't hide me from my father. I can't even talk to my father for a while. I have a father too. I sat near my father. Father looked at me with a longing look as if today was my last day together with him. Well, my mother kept talking like this. It was night time. I came to my room. In the middle of the night, I heard screams from my mother's room. I couldn't let go. I came down the stairs and saw the scene in front of me. My mother was lying face down in front of me and blood was coming out of her head. Were they also standing there? What happened? Father's face was terrified. Oh, there must be a lover from this unfortunate person. I had come to meet her. I hit her on the head while running away and she fainted. But don't worry, I am now convinced that your mother is very bad and if you stay with her, she will be ruined. Come on, I will take you to my friend's house. You will be safe in your illusion. You will not suffer any pain for the rest of your life. After hearing my father's words, I was a little suspicious. Why was my father asking me to get out of this house at once? Well, I couldn't doubt him too much. He was my father. How could I bear any accusation against him? I immediately packed my bag, which was small, but I will not go anywhere leaving my mother in this condition. Father, I had said, hey, nothing will happen to her. She is a family member. She will dry up and then she will come to her senses. Father, I had said, looking at the blood, my mother needs my help. I immediately grabbed her and took her head in my lap. I also bandaged her and tried to bring her to her senses. Father held my hand. They pulled me hard and started taking me out. I screamed at my father's forceful grip. Then the old woman who was probably coming to our house came in front of me. Seeing my father, the woman got very angry and slapped him hard on the face. Before my father could say anything, a man came from behind and placed a handkerchief on my father's nose, which he fainted upon smelling. It was too late for my father to faint when this woman put me in the car and started driving from there. I had no idea what was happening to me. My mind was racing with pain. After a while, we were in a house. My mother had already arrived there. Mother, you are here. I had looked at my mother in surprise. Yes, my daughter, it is better that the lifeless one who saved us in time. Why did mother save us? How did you do it? And I have heard that no one who knows me, who is my father's wife, has ever looked up at anyone except your father, and now I am getting married to you. I started dating this boy who is my aunt's son. She had grown up now. My cousin Shariar and my mother and aunt's family were children. My mother explained everything to my aunt in detail and said that all this was happening in my house. That's why I decided to throw my daughter out of this house. My mother had asked my cousin to marry me. Ahmed Shariar was infatuated with me after seeing my beauty. He immediately supported the marriage. Everything happened so suddenly that I didn't even understand what was happening and why my mother hated my father so much. Why didn't she ask me before making such a big decision in my life? I was wondering this. Mir Anka had ended up with Ahmed Shariar. Now I had become his wife. My mother went back to my father's house. I don't know what happened to my mother after that, but later when I came to know the truth about my mother, I was shocked. I couldn't even imagine that I could be so cruel and selfish. I mean, I could be a daughter. I saw a note in my husband's room that was written by my mother. How long had she been in contact with Ahmed Shariar? This was the same Ahmed Shariar I got married to. My mother used to write letters to him regularly and inform him about my father's bad actions and habits. My mother had written that my father had lost his balance due to drugs. He wanted to sell me too because I was beautiful and all his friends were looking at me. My mother wanted to protect me from him. No one believed my mother's words. A father could think so badly about his daughter. That's why my mother took the help of Bijan. A father could think so about his daughter. It was difficult to convince Bijan about this. That's why my mother told a lie because Bijan had not seen me and she had already said that I had sent my daughter to my aunt's house. When Bijan tried to get me married to someone else, he helped me get me out of the house. When she came to our house at night, she thought that my mother's husband was really going to throw me out of the house to get married, so she helped my mother and rushed me out of there in time and took me to the place where my mother had told her. This had been agreed upon between them long ago, but I didn't know that behind all these difficult situations, my mother's courage, fortitude, and bravery were hidden, which did not let the heat get to me. It is true that there can be no greater relationship in a person's life than a mother.